Hey guys, welcome back to Chattin with D. Today I got a chance to interview Yanely Espinal, otherwise known as Miss Be Helpful. She has over 25,000 subscribers on YouTube talking about personal finance, stock investment, credit card debt, student loans, you know we all have those, and much, much more. Hit that subscribe button and let's get started. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here.
Good, great. Thanks for coming on and sharing your knowledge with the youth. I really appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
All right, so let's get started. Tell me how you got started in this career of finance.
Cool. So actually, I was not originally supposed to go into finance. Like when I was in college, I really didn't know what I wanted to study. And I really liked art, and I was like nerdy, so I liked history. So actually I studied art history, which is like really one of the lowest paying majors after you graduate. So I didn't really know what to do with it, and I decided to just start teaching because I really like kids. So I started as an elementary school teacher, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna do education, I'm gonna teach. But then I had a lot of debt, and I had to like get out of debt. And so throughout getting out of credit card debt, I had to like learn how to do that, learn about interest rates. And so I just started getting more interested in like finance, personal finance. So then I ended up like starting a YouTube channel that just started the whole transition into personal finance full time.
That's great. Miss Be Helpful.
Yes, Miss. Can I make it a student credit card? And they will easily just transfer it. They'll just change the account and make it to a student account for you. So, and you can do the same thing with bank accounts. If you have a checking account or savings account, you should tell them that you're a student so they can give you the student fee, the student rates on all of your accounts. That way you don't get charged as much fees.
Okay, so now, do you recommend a student opening up a credit card when they're in college, or do you recommend them opening up one once they graduate?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it just depends on the type of student. Like every person is different. You know, when I was growing up, my parents were really strict with me in terms of schoolwork. Like if I got anything less than a 90, like my mom was like, why you didn't get a 90? Like she was just so strict with us, right? So like for me, I was on top of my schoolwork. I never missed deadlines. I always had my tests and my homework done on time. I was like Little Miss Perfect with my apple for my teacher. It's like teacher's pet. So when I was 18, I knew it was probably okay for me to get a credit card because I know I was not gonna miss a deadline. I wasn't gonna miss a due date. My credit card payments, the minimum at least, was always paid on time.
So it's all about discipline and making sure that you stay on track.
If you're like a responsible person, you're like, even if you're 17, 18, if you know you're responsible, you're an athlete, you always show up to practice on time, you always get your work done, your teachers don't have to call home and remind you that you missed assignments, then you probably are a responsible person. And so having a credit card, you'll probably be able to handle it. But if you miss an assignment, you know you slacking off, you texting your friends like, yo, when's that project due? Don't get a card yet. Like, get your life together first, and then you can apply.
Got it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, closing a credit card, does that ruin my credit? How many credit cards is like too much?
Yeah. So, okay, so closing a credit card doesn't like totally ruin your credit. That's gonna like ruin your credit forever. But every time that you close an account, whether it's a student loan account, a credit card, or a personal loan, or auto loan, anytime you pay an account off completely or they close it, it basically gets removed. It becomes a closed account. And then all of the records of your payment history, if you were paying every month on time, it goes away. It just like wipes off. So that doesn't really help you, and you end up losing some points, but it's not like a whole bunch. It's not like your credit score drops so much. So I would say don't close credit cards ever because it does hurt your score. Only close it if you didn't know when you opened it that they had an annual fee. Let's say it's like $150 that you're paying every month, and you're like, why am I paying $150 every month when I could get a different card for cheaper or for free? So let me just call them and see if they'll take the fee away. And if they refuse, if they say like, no, sorry, there's nothing we can do, you say, can I speak to your supervisor? If they say the supervisor says nothing we can do, they say, no, unfortunately, I'm going to take my business to another bank because that's not right. I can get another card that will not have that fee, and then you can close it. But I would say it's the last resort.
What if you want a credit card to be closed? Do you just kind of let it ride out and just not really put any more money on it and eventually closes? Or
If you don't use your credit card at all, like if you just stop using it, after like a while, like maybe 2 years, 3 years, your card is considered inactive. You're not using it, so it's not active. There's no active balances. That actually doesn't look very good because the company is gonna be like, why are we wasting our money and our time and our resources printing a bill every month, looking at her account, sending her information, emailing her, like keeping account of her when she's not even swiping the card. So we basically, wasting our time. So they might close the account on you. And then that goes back to that point where it hurts your score because it wipes an account off of your report. So it's actually not a good thing to never use your card. You want to use it like once or twice a year. Just keep it active. Even if it's just to buy like some toothpaste or some razors. Yeah. It's just a quick purchase that you need, and then just pay it off by the end of the month and put the card away until you need it again. If I have like 5 different credit cards, So one of them I use for work only, so that I know if I need to get reimbursed, it's all gonna be on that card.
Okay.
The other one I use for like groceries and food and restaurants. The other one I use for any travel expenses, my Metro card, anytime I'm taking a taxi, anything like that. And then the other two I kind of like swap around what I'm gonna do with them. Sometimes I'll use like all my like reoccurring subscriptions, like Audible, Netflix, anything like that I have, it will just go to one card. So then I kind of break it up like that. And then that way they're all active, but I'm not actually really swiping them all the time. They're just in my wallet at home locked away.
Yeah, that's
but
a smart way to do
it's
it.
like it kind of, you just set it up in the background like automatic and then forget about it. Just make sure you log in and pay and set up your payment so that your bills are always paid on time. If you never got a credit card at all, you don't have a credit score unless you have a loan, like a student loan or something that helped you establish it. But if you never have borrowed any money from anybody ever and you're 18 and you don't have any credit like at all, that's gonna be the hardest way to start because nobody's gonna know if they can trust you. So two things that I would recommend. One is to become an authorized user on your mom or dad's credit card or your aunt or your uncle, somebody that you trust that has good credit. That's the important part. Make sure first that they got good credit, because if you ask your auntie to add you onto their account and then you find out later, ooh, she was a mess with her credit before. So now you don't have that, whatever she did is gonna help you. If it was good, it's gonna hurt you if it was bad. So authorized user status is a really good way to start. If you can't get anybody to add you as authorized user, if they're not really having it, they don't want to do that, then you could apply for a credit builder account, which is something a lot of people don't know about. I really like this company called Self Lender. I talk about it on my YouTube channel, where basically what you do is they kind of create a pretend account for you as if you owed and you were paying it, right? But every month you pay them, let's say like $50 a month. Every month you send them $50. They report that to the credit bureaus. So on your credit report, it says in January you paid $50. In February, you paid $50. In March, it looks like, oh great, she's always making her payments on time. But at the end of the year, they just give you all the money back. So you just saved up your money and you get a lump sum back. They take a little bit, like a percentage of a cut because they're doing a service. And then your credit, you establish credit, you get a score, and you save money. So it's kind of a good way to do it without getting a credit card
And
first.
what's this called again?
Credit, Self Lender. It's a credit builder account. And the company that I like is called Self Lender.
What is the best method to pay down your student loans?
So there's like this is a huge debate in the world of personal finance. Like all the nerds that that like argue about this on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There's two opinions. One of them is that you should use the snowball method, and the other one is you should use the avalanche method. So the snowball method is you start with little snowballs. You start with little goals, and then when you accomplish them, you start to feel good. Like, oh, check, got that done. But that focuses on the amount of money that you owe, and you put them in order. So let's say you have 3 loans. One of them is $10,000, the other one is $7,000, the other one is $2,000. Don't worry about the interest rates. Just look at the amounts. Pay off the $2,000 loan first, then the $7,000 loan, then attack the $10,000 loan.
Oh, okay.
That's one group. That's the snowballers. I'm not on that team. I'm on Team Avalanche, because if you're thinking about the interest, you have to think about how much is that debt growing? How fast is it going to grow? And it's going to mean that I owe more. So if your $10,000 loan is growing at a 3% interest rate, that's low. That's a slow growth. But if the $2,000 loan is growing at a 4% interest rate and the $7,000 loan is growing at a 15% interest rate, doesn't matter that $7,000 is less than $10,000. It matters that it's growing faster. So what you should do is pay the $7,000 loan first, because you want to smash the debt that's growing at the highest interest rate first. That is how I believe you should do it, because mathematically it just makes sense. You're going to be paying off this 3% loan when the other one is growing at 17, 14, 15%. Focus on the highest interest, no matter how much it is. When you finish paying that off, move to the next highest interest, then the next highest interest, until they're all done.
Let's talk stock investment. What is the best stock to invest into?
So that is actually a really bad question. Sorry. No, I'll tell you why. Because that's the most common question people ask. If they feel like, oh, you like investing? What stock should I invest in? And the first thing I think, especially youth, your channel's for youth. If you're young and you're interested in investing, do not try to buy individual stocks. Because if you try to do that, you're basically saying, I can predict, I can get really lucky and pick the company that's gonna make the most money over time. But nobody can really tell the future. Like Facebook, Instagram, Amazon, Google, those companies started making a lot of money, and then people realized that they were profitable. Only a small group of people actually got in to invest in those companies before they blew up. So it's very hard to be in that small group. Those are like venture capitalist funders. Those are like people who are in the investment game strong. Like they're in that community. They know their stuff. Most average everyday people are not investment professionals. We don't know the ticker symbols. We're not watching the news. We're not reading the Wall Street Journal every day.
Yeah.
We're not in tune with what's happening like that. So what the best thing for us to do is actually invest in index funds.
Okay.
Index funds basically say you got a basket and you put a little bit of every single stock that exists in the stock market. Every company that exists in America in the stock market is in this basket. That's called an index fund. And so when you put your money in there, you're putting it in every stock. So you are guaranteed to get the average performance. So if one company did really, really great, another company didn't do that well, you're gonna get somewhere in the middle of the average of all of them. And that's something that, like, if you think about all the rich investors like Warren Buffett, those famous people, they all say index funds makes the most sense over time.
So do you have any, is there any like specific apps that you can recommend?
Betterment is a robo-advising company. I like them because they're an app that you don't need to have hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can start with $5, you can start with $10, you can start with $20, whatever you have, and then you go on there, you take a little quiz, like this is my age, this is my personality, this is like when it comes to investing, like I get scared if the stock market drops, I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my money, or no, I'm not that afraid of it, I'm young. You know, you answer those questions and they say, based on your answers, you get a risk score of like 8 or 7 or 9. You're pretty risky. Or they'll say you got a risk score of like 2. You're not risky at all. So we're not going to give you aggressive portfolio. We're not going to put a lot of stocks in there. Then they might give you stuff like bonds, which are like way more safe and like not as risky. And so then they give you like a little profile, and then you start putting money in there. And those apps are free to download, free to start, but once you start making profit, they charge a small fee. So like 0.25 or something. So like every $100 you earn, they get to keep a quarter, and you get to keep $99.75 of your money. So that's really good.
So it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I saw that you recently connected with a company called Jopwell.
Oh yeah.
Right. It was a really interesting video. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, Jopwell is great, and especially because, again, I keep saying your audience is young people, the youth. That is such a good company for you guys to look up, because on Jopwell, what they do is they look for young people that are in school, you're in college, and you're studying something, and you want to get experience doing that job. So let's say you're studying marketing. They're going to hook you up with a marketing company that's looking for a marketing intern so that you can get experience doing that. And Jopwell really focuses on specifically pairing companies that are looking to diversify their workforce with students of color. So if you are Hispanic or Black, Native American, you're Asian American, and you're looking for an opportunity to get to know what it's like working in a certain field, Jopwell is amazing. Check out their website, check out their blog. So yeah, they reached out to me. They're like, oh, can you give us tips about how you actually got to save all this money? They knew that I grew up poor. They knew that my story was like that.
Because me, I'm like, can you give me tips?
Everybody wants the tips.
I know. Last question, what advice do you have for the youth to save money in their life?
Yeah, I think very carefully about who you want to be in the world and how you want to spend your money. So if you are the kind of person who really cares about animals, think about what you want to do with that for your life. What do you want to do? Do you want to work at an animal shelter with your time? Do you want to start an Instagram about pets? Like, think about what you really care about and let that drive where you go with your time, with your money, and with everything that you do, because that's going to help you to develop who you're going to be as an adult and how you're going to live your life. And that's also going to help you know where to put your money and your dollars and what to invest in and what to do in terms of like really moving yourself forward. So for me, I found out that I want to help people learn about money and investing and saving, and I want to make it fun. I want to make it easy to understand, fun, engaging, cool. And so that's why I did the route that I did with YouTube. But find what drives you and then just go with it. Follow it and pursue it.
Thank you for coming on to my show. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, and thank you for giving me all these great tips that we can share with the youth. And hopefully we'll have a very financially stable group of youth coming up.
Yes, I wish the same. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you.